Let's talk about a question that comes up a lot. I get asked this a lot in my emails, and that question is, are you taking new work? And the answer to that is no, I'm not taking new work. Yes, I am taking new work. It's a little bit of a complicated situation. I'm going to get my cheat notes here to make sure I don't forget something here. I'm working on guitars. I mean, obviously, you can see my videos. I'm working on guitars. The main thing is it takes a while. So I'm going to post a picture up right now of my whiteboard in the shop. And this is the amount of work that I have to do on every guitar just about. So I'm going to post that picture now. Okay. It takes a long time. This is not a cookie cutter kind of business. It takes at best, if I was doing this full time, full time, it would take about 2 months to do a 70s overhaul. So in the meantime, I'm getting anywhere from 1 to 5 emails every single week of people wanting me to work on their guitars and work on this and work on that. So I take a couple of those. If I take 2 a week, boom, the backlog is, out the door immediately because I'm not going to catch up in 2 months on doing these things. So it takes a long time to get these guitars done. The biggest problem is my unpredictable schedule. And I don't work on guitars full time. I wish I did. Well, I don't know if I wish I did or not. Then it becomes kind of work. But I could, and I can make a pretty decent living. However, my main job, my real job, is to run or help or manage or whatever that I do in the family business. And that's kind of a limited thing. It's basically me and my mother in the corporation. And I'm the person on the ground doing everything. And we've moved from the ranching business into commercial property, which is a massive learning curve because I know nothing about commercial property. And if you were paying attention to any of my videos, you saw that back in the spring, we had an HVAC emergency, where in February and March, the HVAC system froze. And I ended up having no heat and no air conditioning for the entire summer because it took all summer long to try to get the air conditioner fixed. And then when the new cooling tower came in, it was damaged on the truck. I waited 16 weeks for this new cooling tower. And it's supposed to come in, it's supposed to be stacked vertical like a sheet of glass. It's laying over on its side, twisted in the semi-truck with a 2x4 stuck through it. We're sitting out there in the parking lot with the crane, the technicians to put it in, everybody. It was a disaster, That was about 2-3 weeks ago. Yeah, 2 weeks ago. It took me all summer. I had to figure out a way to cool down a 30,000 square foot commercial building with no air conditioner. And this is not an air conditioner with a duct system in it. It's a heat pump system. So if you just go look it up. Anyway, I have an extremely unpredictable schedule. So what happened this year, I got guitars in the spring, and I'm looking forward to working on them in the summer, and bam, HVAC emergency, and believe me, stress is through the roof. I'm supposed to be working on guitars. So this guitar I'm holding here, for instance, I'm just about to finish it. I think I am finished with it. It needs a strap button in it. We're going to do that. I've had this since February. So, I'm slow, I'm unpredictable, and I took too many guitars in the spring because I thought, well, summer's coming, I'm making progress, I'm going to get these things done. Okay. Second thing that happened during all the summer then, you've got to adapt to circumstances. And my adaptation was to getting a remote shop out there in Los Alamos, where the commercial building is. So that in my downtime, and there was downtime, it's kind of like being a fireman, you're standing around and then boom, then there's an emergency. But I had a lot of downtime, and it was frustrating because I couldn't work on guitars over there. My main shop is here. So all summer long, I was working on getting the shop together, finding where I wanted to put this thing in the room. I moved my office twice during the summer, from this room to that room to this room, as we rented out the other portions of the rooms. And finally, I got settled down as to where I wanted to be, put the stuff in there, got the benches. I mean, it took some time to get that shop. I have a couple of videos on this. Go look at remote shop. You'll see what I'm talking about. So, took a little bit of time to get that shop set up in between dealing with this HVAC emergency and trying to figure out what to do and how to keep this building cool. So this summer, it's been a headache. And I finally did get, some production going and starting to work on stuff. But the other issue is this, is that, I quit for about a year and a half after the ranch sold and after we bought these buildings, and I'm doing all this moving and all this turmoil. And I just quit working on it. I said, that's too much stress. I mean, I like working on your guitars, but it stresses me out when somebody's not happy and they don't like this and they don't like that. And, I had the issue with the actions. This customer, actually, I said of his first guitar, and his action after a while was just way different from what I sent it. I've never had that issue. I've always been able to set it up, ship it out, and it pretty much stays there. But for some reason, after this move, actions are shifting around a little bit, and I've had to kind of work on that and figure it out. But that's stressful, and I just I don't want to deal with that anymore. So I quit for about a year and a half. However, I have a reputation for working on 70s and being able to pull the best out of a 70s Martin Dreadnought. And so I started getting more and more emails about this, who do you recommend? Well, I don't know. I mean, the reason I think I'm any good is because I'm the other guy doing it, except Dan Lashbrook. Dan Lashbrook is good. He can be more hot roddy than I am, which I'm a little bit more traditional. But anyway, there's very, very few people that would do what I think a 70s needs to be done. That, people put oversized bridges on them, and, they don't want to take the bridge plate out, and they don't want to do this, and they don't want to do that. As far as I know, I'm one of the only people, besides Dan Lashbrook, which will do the whole thing, what I do on 70s. So finally, I had people just begging me to take their 70s, and some of them were like, well, Kevin, Kevin, I had his video, his guitar earlier on, and it was like, it's his dad's guitar. It's in the closet. They haven't played it for 20 years. He can ship it to me, and he doesn't care how long it takes. So I'm like, okay, I'll take that, because you don't care how long it takes. You're not even playing it right now, so I'm not under the gun, to get something done. For this guitar, for instance, it took me since February, but I did another one for him, so he's already got a 70s D28. So, I didn't feel real pressured to get it done. And if I feel pressured, I'm not going to take it. So, but I take 70s, focused on 70s, and I have a lot of videos on Authentics recently, and that's just because one customer sent me all these Authentics to put into videos, and which was cool. I mean, who's going to turn down the chance to live with an Authentic that you don't own for a little while and get to know it and play it and put it in videos, and I mean, that's cool, and you guys benefit from it too. You get to hear all these Authentics together. So I've taken a few Authentics. I took in that 63 D21 because that was a repeat customer, and I already knew what he expected. I already knew that we gelled on what was to be done. So that was a less stressful situation, and it was a D21, which I have a second soft spot for. 70s and D21s. And it's not that I'm opposed to the other guitars like the modern ones, the 80s and 90s. It's not that I'm opposed. It's just that I have so many 70s to do, and then so many other ones from repeat customers that just fill in the gaps that I have no time. I literally have no time to do anything else. So, and I tell you that right out front, I wish I could do this. I don't have time. If you send it to me, don't even ask me when it's going to be done, because I can't. I'm not going to accept it if we're going to do that. I'll tell you right out front. Okay? But I'm focusing on 70s. 70s take a lot of work. Yeah. If I worked on the modern guitars, I could whip one out every week, because it's pretty easy, back braces, popsicle brace, nut saddle done, boom, you're out, there you go, and there's $400 or $500. But anybody can do that. Anybody that will take the patience and time to do the kind of thing. 70s are kind of special for me. So by the time I decided to focus on 70s and focus only on those guys that said, take all the time you want on this thing. Here, I got guys that dropped off guitars in April and have never even once asked me how it's going. And I've made progress on it, and I've emailed them, you see, but I'll get to it. They're on the list. They're coming up next. So focus is on 70s. They take a lot of time. I don't know when I'm going to get to work on them. I'm trying really hard here to get stuff done. This weekend, I'm about to finish. I hope finish up 3 70s guitars and get them out of here soon. I like to let them sit for about a week or two after I'm done with them, just for the final check, because shipping is getting so expensive now that that's another thing too, is I'm giving preference to 70s that can be hand delivered. And so a lot of those authentics sitting over there were hand delivered by the guy. You can't, packing saves me an hour and a half worth of time per guitar. It takes some time to pack, and I'm always worried, it's just, packing takes a lot of time. So, okay, so if you email me and you say, I want you to work on my 70s. If you ask me to work on your 90s or your current one, I'm going to have to say, man, I just don't have the time. Unless you manage to bring it over and drop it off and pick it up again in 2 or 3 days. So there's in and out, and it doesn't take much mental facility. And maybe I'll have a window out there to do it. I've done a couple of them. Window out there, we'll get it done, we'll get it out of here. I like that. It's just the packing, the unpacking, the inspection, the emailing back and forth. All that stuff just takes too much time that I don't have. Maybe I'll pick up again as I get my routine down. I'm even scared to say that because I said that in the spring. So if you email me, first thing I'm going to do is, if it's the 70s and you tell me that I can have it for as long as I want, and you're not going to ask me any questions, and you're also going to give me free reign on it. So I'm listening. You're going to go on one of 2 lists. Right now, the hot list is already full. I'm taking 4 70s at a time, and I have 9 right now. So, yeah, a couple of those would drop off, stuff like that. But I'm trying to take 4 at a time, just 4 at a time. I think there's 8 people on the hot list right now. A couple of those guys might drop off when I finally get to contact him. I don't know. That's the hot list. As soon as I get done with 4 of the 70s, so I got 3, I got 1 more to get done. When I get done with 4 of them, I'm going to contact 4 people off of that hot list, and I'm going to say, are you ready to go? And I would like to get them done before, I'd like to get them here before Thanksgiving or Christmas, or, before it gets cold, before the Christmas rush, before all that shipping rush. I'd like to get them here. So, and these shipped out. Should have enough time. Anyway, there's going to be 4 guitars coming off of the hot list. A couple of those guys might not want the work done anymore. That happens. And then I have what I call the warm list. Hot list and a warm list. And the warm list is where I throw emails where I'm interested. But I cannot do it. I physically do not have space for your guitar. I have a very limited amount of space to keep cases, boxes, packing material, and I just don't want your guitar sitting around here with me responsible for it. It's dry up here in the mountains, 8,500 feet elevation. Winter's coming on, it's going to get dry. I don't want to be responsible if I'm gone for a week and things get dry around here. I don't want to be responsible for that. So there's a limit to how many guitars I want sitting around here. So But I like your guitar. It's a 70s. I'm interested in it. It's a Brazilian Rosewood D21. I'm interested in it. It's an authentic. I'm kind of interested in that. I would tell you, I'll put you on the warm list. Put you on the warm list, and then as the hot list empties out, I'll move people from the warm list by usually by the date that they ask me, but sometimes by the guitar too. For instance, if I have 470s already taken and I see a guy down there that wants a neck reset on an authentic, that's generally a takes less brain power and mental capacity than doing a full 70s overhaul. I'm trying to remember what it is I'm supposed to do on this guitar that's different from the other 70s D28, that's different from the other 70s D28. You know what I mean? Neck reset on an authentic is pretty straightforward. I like that. I might move you in to fill in one of the chinks and the cracks. It's big rocks, little rocks, and then sand. You might be a little rock at that point. So I might move one of you authentic people or one of you D21 people. I might move one of you guys off of the warm list onto that hot list. Likewise, if there's a modern guitar, a 90s or a 1000s or something that just needs the back braces shaved and set up and that kind of thing, that might be a sand. That takes even less mental capacity than neck reset. You might get moved into the hot list, but it's unlikely that I'll put you on the warm list because I don't want that warm list getting to be 150 people. I've been there before, and people would get upset because they say, "Well, I've been on your list for 2 years and you haven't got to me." I'm like, "Well, I can't get to you. I shouldn't have ever put them on the list in the first place." And so that's what I'm doing now. If I can't get to you, I'm going to tell you, I can't get to you. I'm not even going to get your hopes up. I'm just going to say, I can't get to you. Sorry. I wish I could. Really, we do. I love working on your guitars and stuff, but if I can't get to you, I'm not going to put you on the warm list. So, all right, that's the deal. Okay. So, am I taking new work? Well, I'm taking work that's been on the list for a year and a half. Pulling that on. I'm taking new guys and I'm throwing some of them onto one list or another. People ask me, last thing is, who do you recommend then? Man, everybody's busy. I'll tell you, the people that I do recommend for general stuff, especially Gibsons, which I don't like to work on Gibsons. I don't have the experience at it. I definitely don't want to do them now. I would recommend Custom Fret in Sparta, Tennessee. That's Doug Granger, and I knew his dad really, really well, Jim Granger. And, Jim and I butted heads for a little bit there, and then we met each other. We got along great after that. And I very much respected Jim and his son Doug was kind of taking over the business. And the thing about them is not just one guy. They've got a crew of people. So they have people that can do this and people that can do that. And they have specialties, and they get stuff done. And they're good. And I recommend them. That's where I send a lot of people. So Custom Fret, Sparta, Tennessee is one place I send people. Oh, the other guy that I send a lot of people to is Blues Creek Guitars. He's in Pennsylvania, right? Blues Creek Guitars, Hall. So I send people up there to him because he's really good. He does a lot of fixtures, a lot of jigs. I've talked to him a lot. He has connections with the Martin factory. So I authorize repairman. So like if you need necks and logos and things like that, he can do that. I had D21 come in one time that was just totally crushed. Somebody had sat on it. And I'm like, I can't do that. John Hall. John. I know Jim's and I know John Hall. John Hall, Blues Creek Guitars. I sent that D21 up to them. He did a good job on it. Great job on it. Way better than I could do. Like finish work, forget it. I'm not doing finish work. I can't. I don't have the space. I don't have the time. I don't. Okay? So anything like that, I would send that to him. John Hall, Blues Creek Guitars. Doug Granger at Custom Fret, Sparta, Tennessee. If you want a hot rod, try to get a hold of Dan Lashbrook. Again, Dan's I love Dan, okay? Dan's a little bit more hot roddy than me. But I'll tell you a story, Dan Lashbrook. I had only emailed Dan way back when, in 2002. I had only emailed him, and, we'd talked talked on the phone even a couple of times. Never met him. So I'm at Kaufman Camp my first year, and I'm carrying like about 9 guitars from my Suburban over to my shop at the time, and I've got 3 in each arm, so I've got 6. I've got one, I've got them stacked backwards, and I've got the other one under my arm, and I'm staggering across, and this guy comes walking across, and he goes, "Hey, man, let me give you a hand." And I said, "I appreciate it." And he sticks his hand out, "Dan Lashbrook." And so I met him. He's a maniac. I mean, yeah, I say that very respectfully, but Dan's a maniac, okay? I don't agree with everything that he does anymore because I kind of got my own deal. But Dan's a hot rodder. So, hunt down Dan Lashbrook, Talk to him. He's on the East Coast, last I heard. North Carolina, South Carolina, I don't know. Find him. Google him. Find him. That's a place you could go if you want hot rodding done. On the West Coast, it gets tough. Dennis Burke used to be a good guy that I would send especially vintage stuff to. But I understand he's retired, so, gosh, There's a guy in Dallas that I've sent some people to, Jim Pinson. And you can Google him. I've never seen his work personally, but I've seen, we've talked a lot. I've seen his stuff and pictures and stuff, and he seems pretty capable to me. I'm not too sure about 70s overhauls and that kind of thing, but I've seen him some stuff, and the people who seem like setup jobs, setup jobs, fret jobs, things like that. And the guys reported back to me and said, he did a pretty good job. So you could hunt him down if you wanted to. We get a lot of people from Denver a lot of times, and they ask me who up here in Denver. I've actually forgotten the name right now, but if you email me, I'll remember. There's a couple guys in Denver, but every guy that's any good is going to be busy. And that's the fact of it. There you go. Okay? So, I'm going to play this guitar just real quick so we have a guitar to play. I literally just walked out of the shop at this. This is it. This is one that I had a little trouble with previously on Actions. So I'm sending him 3 saddles this time. And they're not glued in right now. The one that's in it right now is the 93 seconds Action, which is what I would prefer. He wants his Action a little taller, so the other 2 saddles are both taller. And one of them has a little bit taller bass going down to the same treble. So more of a Action like this. I prefer my Actions to be a little bit more even, basically. I'm talking about the height of the strings. I'm not talking about the saddle right now. 93, 90, 87, 87, 84, 80. See, it's pretty consistent Action. But I have sent him one where it's like 103 going down to 78. So a little bit more curve, which I think is a pretty good. Anyway, let's see. Send him 3 saddles. So here it is, first time I played it. So let's see what it sounds like. He's got to do his own pick guard. He's going to get Holter pick guards to put the pick guard on there because I didn't have anything like, and that's fine. It's prepped. It's ready to go. Go talk to Holter pick guards, which is another great source for you. I really only do pick guards for customers. But I have the guitars here. And Holter pick guards. Taylor Mullins, is that right? Yep, I think so. I'm used to seeing it on email, but Holter pick guards. Boy, he makes some beautiful pick guards. But way better than I can do. I mean, way better than I could do. His edges are so nicely beveled. He gets the really dark material. I've got one in a case over here for LSV that the customer supplied for me to put on. Cool. I really don't like making pick guards all that much. It's just, I just don't. Holter makes nice pick guards. So, customer here didn't like anything I had. That's fine. So, send him to Holter. He's going to put the pick guard on. So, there you go. If you want nice pick guards, look for them. Got a terrific neck. this when I get a good 70s neck, they're nice. This one's really good. Yeah, it's got a little bit of a wider feel to it, kind of a wider, flat feel, which I really like. Yeah. It's got my preferred action on it right now, so it's nice. What's that? It's this one, right? It's going to C. I blew that in the other video. I haven't practiced that long, so let's see. Yeah, it's up there. I thought I went there. Yeah, that's right. I'm doing that. Right. I gotta have the chords, you know. Yeah. And then, that's it. I have to refresh my memory on that. So, there's the guitar. So there's the answer to your question. Are you taking new work? You know, I have a. I'll try to see if I can post it at the end of this. I took a picture of Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall in To Have or Have Not. You know, she's in the doorway. Anybody got a light? And I posted on that. Do you work on TACA meetings? It's hilarious. So I'm going to find that picture. I'm going to post it at the end of this, and you can see that. And it just makes you think of this, you know. I could put on there, are you taking new work? All right. See you later.